Before the video starts, let me break down what you can expect in this review. 1. I will talk about the plot or the story of the episode. 2. I will talk about the things that I like. 3. I'll talk about the things that I didn't really care for. And 4. I will give the episode a score out of 10. Also, spoilers. With that being said, let's get right into it and break down the actual episode review. Hey guys, Tanner here. Yeah, clearly we're in a little bit of a different format here. Don't worry, this is just for the episode reviews, of course. I figured we'd take a little bit more of a unscripted, more personal, less robotic type of approach to the whole reviewing the episodes of season 8 thing. So yeah, I figured this just makes it a little bit more podcast-y, and I feel like we're more personal again, as I said before. And I don't know, I just figured it'll be like we're hanging out, like you and I are just talking about episode 75 of Ninjago, which is what we're going to get into really quick here. So yeah, just jumping into the whole plot or story aspect here of the episode. Just like we did in the season 7 reviews, I'm just going to go through it beat by beat. Clearly, you guys will not be seeing any footage this time around in these reviews, strictly because I cannot find HD footage, and I really don't want to use like the bootlegged uploaded versions of the episodes that have been on YouTube for months now. But yeah, we finally have the episodes, or not the episode, but we have episode 75 in the United States. I can't speak here. Maybe unscripted reviews were not the best idea. I don't know. We'll see what you guys think. But getting right into the story here, we start off with the whole thing that we saw from Comic-Con with the Sons of Garmadon. My Discord just went off. I don't know if you guys heard that, but of course, Lloyd comes in and he fights these guys. He fights off the Sons of Garmadon. It's pretty good. I'll get more into the fight scenes later on in my things that I liked about the episode segment. But of course, after a long car chase, Mr. E, we know him as the leader of this band of Sons of Garmadon, not the actual leader itself of the entire group, just the leader of this small group. He gets away with the mask, and of course, Lloyd calls for the rest of the ninja group. He calls for the rest of the ninja to like meet up somewhere, and the ninja are all scattered around Ninjago City. Of course, we see Nia fighting basically slave owners on a farm. Seems a little strange for Ninjago to incorporate slavery, but whatever. Jay and Cole are searching for Sensei Wu elsewhere. We learn here that it's been a year since Master Wu actually disappeared into that time stream from the end of season 7, so that's really interesting. Of course, then after that gets done, we see Kai and Zane fighting the mechanic. They, of course, defeat him due to elemental powers, and that's pretty cool. And of course, we see here Zane has his new cloaking mechanism where he can switch back and forth between his titanium appearance and a more humanoid look. Of course, now we get to the point of the episode where the ninja actually do meet up, and they mention that it's been a little while since they've all been under one roof, which I do find to be pretty interesting. We also hear that Misako is currently out searching for Sensei Wu somewhere else in Ninjago, so that explains where she is during all of this. And all of a sudden, this strange guy named Hutchins just appears and starts giving us exposition about the Oni mask, so that's pretty interesting. We also hear about the royal family in Ninjago, an aspect of the land that we had not heard of prior to this season, and we learn that they will be having a speech the following day, and Hutchins worries that the Sons of Garmadon will try to attack because the royal family does have an Oni mask of their own. And of course, they need all three of them to go ahead and revive Lord Garmadon. Now, jumping towards this royal family speech here, we see Lloyd taking a little bit of interest in the princess, Princess Harumi, we know. Um, and of course, there is a disturbance, but it does turn out to be, absolutely nothing. Just some guy shooting off firecrackers, of course. But due to the heroic actions of the ninja, they are invited into the palace, and it's here that we see a little bit more of what the royal family does, a little bit more of their background, and of course, we do see a little bit more exposition about the Oni masks themselves. And we also get a reintroduction to the ninja characters, so that's pretty cool. Harumi, the princess, goes ahead and breaks down each ninja individually, sort of expressing their personality and basically what they, how they act. So that's pretty cool. We also learn that Lloyd is a huge creeper as he spies on Harumi when she's in her room. So that's nice, I guess. After that, though, the ninja go on night watch and they sort of scout the area for more Sons of Garmadon activity. They're also very suspicious of Hutchins, who may or may not be evil. I know the answer, but spoilers for the rest of the season I'm not going to reveal here because we're just talking about this one episode. But Lloyd notices that Harumi has gone missing. She is no longer in her bedroom, and that's where the episode ends. So in terms of like a story standpoint, I mean, it was a pretty basic setup for a story in my opinion. A lot was definitely thrown at the viewer during watching, and some of it may be a little confusing, but we'll get into that, with the whole talking about the good and the bad. But speaking of that, talking about the good things that I like, I think we'll start off first by talking a little bit more about like some changes that I noticed. The intro does not have the weekend whip in it. I like the weekend whip, but I know why it's not in this season, and I understand that. I'm not going to complain about it because I know what's up. It's supposed to be a darker season, so it makes sense that they would not have the peppy tune of the weekend whip playing at the beginning. The design changes I feel like have been dug into the ground at this point, have just been completely, just over. I don't want to say like, they've been complained about like way too much. So I'm not really gonna. I don't mind the design changes as I've said before, but I know some people do, and those people really do need to get over it at this point because it's not going back. But speaking of coming back, the ninja are back. These are the ninja that we know and love. These are not the ones from the Lego Ninjago movie, as that is a completely separate timeline or completely separate universe in general. The ninja are back with their old personalities, of course, and Lloyd is the only difference here because Lloyd did get a new voice actor. Sam Vincent replaced Jillian Michaels, which it's okay. I mean, Lloyd as a character, he's growing up obviously, and I feel like giving him a new voice was pretty appropriate. Another thing that I really did enjoy is the way that the fight scenes made the whole style feel more violent and more mature. This is of course stemming from season 7 where we had the more complex fight scenes, I would say, that definitely carried over, and I do really like that. Again, it makes it feel more violent, and then combining it with the smooth animation of season 8, it's just awesome, and I really do like that. I feel like in general this episode was a good reintroduction to the Ninjago TV show after, since it's been a year since season 7, and we did have that break with the Lego Ninjago movie. This was a good way to get back into the TV show, and I feel like Ninjago fans watching this episode will feel right back at home, feel right back in the same place that they were when season 7 left off. In terms of things that I thought were kind of negative or really things that didn't really stand out to me as being fully comprehensible, I feel like there was too much new material introduced in this season in general, or not in this season, but this episode. The royal family sort of came out of nowhere, and I mean, yeah, they said that they've been living like a secret life, but why just now come out of the shadows? Why just now introduce yourselves? If the royal family is like super important, I would have suspected that they would have been here since the beginning of Ninjago, or at least make themselves present in the history. We might find out more about them in future episodes, but like things like that sort of distract older Ninjago fans or people that have been here for a while because it is such a change, and change is good, but I feel like the royal family aspect sort of threw me off as I was watching it. It sort of confuses the viewer in a way from the way that I could see it. And speaking of the royal family, some of their personalities I find to be extremely bland, such as the emperor and the empress. They really didn't get that much of a highlight in this episode, and I know what happens to them later on, and I hope that we actually get to see some sort of character growth as the series progresses, or this season progresses rather. Hutchins was another character that I thought was a little strange. I mean, I liked him, but again, he just sort of came out of nowhere. And the fact that Lloyd first welcomes him into the ninja group, or welcomes him, is a little weird considering later on they all sort of turn against him and suspect that he might be up to something evil. Another negative that I could see, there's no sign of like air jitsu or anything like that in this episode, and from what I can tell, there's no air jitsu in the actual season itself. Also, no sign of any elemental dragons. We do see elemental powers, but in terms of like elemental dragons, I don't think that the ninja will be using them at all, which I can see why that is as well. They wanted to make season 8 more realistic, I'd say, and have it feel more grounded, so I can definitely see why that is. But I think that's pretty much all I have to say for negatives for this episode. I felt like overall this episode was a good reintroduction, but some few things, I guess, distracted from the point that the episode was trying to make. Not the strongest start for a Ninjago season, and I do hope that season 8 does get better as it goes on. I've heard some good things about this season, and I really don't want to be disappointed, but I have faith in everyone involved, and I'm sure it'll turn out fine. But for the time being, this episode, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for all the reasons that I just listed, in this entire video. So with that being said, that'll pretty much wrap it up for this episode review. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this new style, if you like it or if you don't. Either way, I'm going to be continuing it throughout the entirety of the season 8 reviews because I do like to be consistent. But of course, feel free to leave your thoughts on all that down below. Also, let me know what you thought of this episode, what you think of the reintroduction to the Ninjago franchise, especially leading into Season 8. I really am curious to hear your thoughts about that. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video, so thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed, as always, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button. It really does help me out quite a bit. And as always, thanks for sticking around. And I hope you'll tune in to the next one, because next week we will be reviewing episode 76. So be sure to come back, and I hope you enjoyed this new podcast style. Leave all your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.